Billy, I'd be willing to bet that no one has actually ever told you that focus is evil. But we are back again, another Tuesday, talking about mindset and sports psychology. So excited to have you on again, man. How's it going today?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. Blessed to have another week. Holidays are right around the corner. Looking forward to spending time with family. How about you, my man?
Absolutely, man. Same. Actually, I wasn't sure if we were actually going to be able to jump on. Literally, right outside this window, they were chopping down trees. So there's like a chainsaw literally right on the other
Really?
side of the window. But we are here. We got it going. So, anyways, for those of you jumping on, thank you for jumping on. If you see anything in the description that says allow StreamYard to uh, post your comments, that just shows us who you actually are. All you got to do is click the link and you can put a comment in so that we can actually see you as an actual person instead of just a generic name. But anyways, man, jumping into focus today, extremely valuable topic. Why focus is actually evil. So I'll let you take it away, man. Let's get started.
All right. Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that focus is evil, but if you think about it, it definitely can be. You can have what do they call it? Analysis paralysis or
Yeah,
by
analysis or
analysis.
paralysis by analysis.
Yeah. So when you're focusing on too many things or you're not focusing on the right things, which I think happens to a lot of people, including myself, then focus can kind of take you away from living in the moment and enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, here's a simplified way that I've heard this, and obviously we can break it down further. So the secret of accomplishment is concentrated focus. The enemy of accomplishment is distraction. So distraction is actually focusing on a lot of different things at one time. So in a sense that you're focusing on, you know, let's just take a game for example, right? We'll go baseball game. If you're focusing on what happened in your last at bat, if you're focusing on defense, if you're focusing on what your parents are going to say, you're worried about what the coach is going to say, you're worried about what your teammates are going to say, you're worried about your win-loss record, you're worried about, you're focusing on your stats, then all of a sudden you've got focus in 7 different directions. So if you want to, have a successful at bat, say you're walking up to the plate and you're focusing on 7 different things, yeah, you're focused, but you're focused on 7 different things at once. So you tell me that you're going to have success focused on 7 different things as opposed to 1 different thing? Absolutely not.
Right. I agree. So I think focus is not only one of the most important things for sports, concentrated focus, but also to living a healthy and peaceful life. Because, when you're focused on the present, you're focused on the right things, what you should be, thinking about, the task at hand, things are going to go way better for you because you can't change the past. You've heard it a million times. And the future is going to happen no matter what. So you might as well focus on this present moment. And that'll not only take you to an elite level as an athlete, but that's also going to elevate your daily life and give you more peace of mind.
Yeah, man. What are some of the things that you do? Because that's a skill in and of itself, is actually just being present, focusing in the present, right? What are some of the things that you do to try to stay present, keep your focus on the now instead of the past or the future?
Dude, this is like the hardest skill I think that almost anyone can learn. I work on it every single day, and I'm trying to get better at it. But staying in the present moment is difficult, man, because our brains are wired. They're crazy. They're thinking about a million different things. But to try to ground myself and keep myself, where I need to be right here, I like to focus first of all on my breath, because when you're focusing on like a bodily function of like a breath, for example, then your mind isn't wandering to other places, and you're thinking about that breath. You're thinking about that moment and the task at hand. So we talked about this a little bit last week. Whenever I'm doing a task or anything, I try to focus, just on doing that. So like doing the dishes, for example, is a good one. I'm just thinking about washing the dishes, working out, whatever. I'm focused. I'm there, and I'm trying to stay in tune with my breath and exactly what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah, yoga has been a instrumental part of staying present and finding breath as well. Actually, quick story. Back when I was in high school, man, like my sophomore year in high school, you remember MTV Cribs?
Yeah, of course.
And there was an MTV Cribs of Jermaine Dye, who he was I think he was a World Series MVP when the White Sox won the World Series. But back in the 2000s, he had a string of seasons there where he had 30 home runs, 100 RBIs, him and Konerko. But they did an MTV Cribs on Jermaine Dye, and literally one of the first places that they showed during his MTV Cribs was his room where he just did yoga. And being an outfielder in high school, I was like, shit, if he's doing yoga, I should try it too. So, I dabbled with it in high school and college, and then it's been more serious recently. But I mean, I'm not saying that's the cure-all for being present, but that's such a great practice to relate to what you're saying as far as finding your breath and staying present.
Right. And I think a lot of people do yoga for the physical benefits, which, are numerous. Yoga is so good for your body, your muscles, your blood flow, your digestion, everything. But it's also good for your mental clarity,
100%.
like you're saying, because in order to complete the exercises with good form, you have to breathe through it, and you have to breathe properly, which is something that we could talk about also. Breathing through the nose, holding it for a second, and then slowly letting it out via the mouth or nose. Breathing properly is so much more important. If you're taking short breaths through your mouth, it's not going to be nearly as relaxing. You can't be nearly as focused as when you're breathing through your nose deep and slow, and then slowly letting it out. So I think yoga is huge for mental and physical benefits.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. So from the sports psychology side, for those of you giving a thumbs up in the hearts, we appreciate it. From the sports psychology side, if you're a coach and you see players losing focus, what can they do to get back on track? Because it's not like they can do yoga right in the middle of the game.
Right. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think the use of cue words can be huge. For anyone who doesn't know what cue words is, it's just like a word or a short phrase that you're going to either say to yourself, or you could like write it on the inside of your glove, your batting gloves, the bottom of your hat. And it's just something that's going to keep your focus in the right place, so you can maintain that concentrated focus throughout the entire game. And we always want our cue words to be very simple and very direct and positively oriented. So that means that, if I'm pitching, my cue words might be down in the zone, or even just catcher's glove. So I'm focused on catcher's glove only. And my main thing when I'm pitching, I try to just take a breath, see the glove, and then go. Keep it very simple. I don't think about mechanics or anything like that, or even what's going on in the game, really. You got to focus right here in that present moment, and that's the next pitch. Same thing as a hitter. You can't think about the last at bat or what's going to happen at the end of the game. You got to focus on your at bat, no matter the situation.
Yeah, for parents and coaches listening, that was obviously excellent advice. And from a psychological standpoint, we have to understand that our brain doesn't register those negative cue words, right? So if you say, don't swing at the high pitch, or don't leave the ball up in the zone, right? You reference keeping the ball down in the zone. Your brain doesn't reference that negative word. So your brain actually works in images, and pictures. So if you say, don't leave the ball up in the zone, your image is up in the zone. So you're going to be more likely to leave the ball up in the zone then, which is exactly what you don't want. So what Billy is saying is make sure those words or those phrases are geared towards what you want to do instead of what you don't want to do.
Right. And I've had numerous teammates, like you talk to them after the game, after they give up some runs, get hit around a little bit, mainly with pitchers. And you're like, what were you thinking out there, dude? And it's just like, don't give up a dick shot, or, don't give up a bomb kick. And, that's exactly what happened then. You throw the dick shot. Because all your brain hears is throw a dick shot, not don't. So you need to have positive direction. Yeah,
agreed 100%. So a big obstacle that players have is for parents and coaches. And on the topic of focus, you hear them screaming from the stands, you hear them screaming from the dugout, you hear them screaming from the third base box, focus, focus, focus. Which to me, if you're trying to get someone to focus, is the absolute worst thing that you can do.
That's like saying calm down to someone who's their mind. You know, the only thing they can do is make them matter.
And the unbelievable thing is that they say it, 9 times out of 10, they're saying it in some sort of stressful manner, right? Focus, you know what I mean? Like the intensity is high, their voice is raised. Like, why can't you focus? And they're absolutely going nuts. And then the kid's saying, oh shit, I gotta focus. And then all of a sudden his heart's beating through his chest, trying to figure out how the hell do I focus? And his teammates are going, why isn't he focusing? And then there's like the teacher's pet, who's like in youth sports, the teacher's pet is like the coach's pet, who wants to just reinforce what the coach is saying, and maybe he says it in a different way, but he's telling you to focus. And then all of a sudden it just spirals out of control for the athlete, where his focus is actually just getting worse. So as a coach, as a parent, without going on another long rant, man, in order to get a player's focus, right, one of the things that we have to stop doing as parents and as coaches is forcing it down their throat to try to focus, right? You have to meet the player where they're at. You have to meet them where they're at. So if, they're too excited, you have to meet them where they're at, where they're too excited, and then try to bring them down to a focused state. If they're going too slow, right? If they're a little angry, sad, depressed, upset about something, you have to meet them there. You have to meet them where they are and then help bring them back up to where they're at.
That's a great point. That is a great point. And that's a skill that also takes a lot of practice and is very difficult to do. And that's some of the best coaches in the world are able to hone their athletes in and keep them grounded, whether it's bringing them up or even, getting overexcited, too much celebration, and then you got to bring them back down, because you want to try to stay on that even keel as a player and a coach. That's the only way that you can maintain that true focus. But if you're a coach or a parent, who's done that screaming the focus thing, it's okay, because we know your heart, your heart's in the right place. So
absolutely.
It's all good. But there are things that you can do that are going to be way more beneficial for your athlete. And that could be just reminding them of the Q word. As a coach, as a parent, you shouldn't be saying really anything other than, good job, way to go, and cheering, positively for your team. Let the coach keep the coaching to the coach. So yeah, simple Q phrase, at bat, just head down, see the ball hit the bat. Just very simple and very calming directions, I'd say, would be your best bet.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. There was an interesting, actually, I'm going to pull this up here real quick. Tony says, focus, but don't think.
Exactly.
What do you think about focus, but don't think?
So that's tough, because we tell kids exactly to focus or think about what you're doing, like during practice and then during, private lessons or whatever. Then they get in the game and then they're still thinking about, I got to turn my back foot when I swing. I got to fire my hips first.
Yeah.
The reason we do all this work in practice and in private lessons is so then we are thinking about what we're doing. We're thinking about the mechanics. We're trying to repeat them and be consistent. But then once practice is over, it's a game situation. You want to clear the mechanism, and then you have that muscle memory to rely on that's going to guide you through the game. So you don't want to be thinking about mechanics or anything like that. So I think the focus then is focus on the next pitch, whether you're pitching, hitting, fielding. It's always the next pitch is what drives the progress of the game. So you're always focused on the next pitch, but you're not thinking about what you need to do. You're not thinking about how you need to do it. You're just thinking about what you need to do. See the ball, hit the ball, keep my release point low. Very simple directions, not, push off my back leg, try to finish out over my front knee. So I think that's where Tony's saying, where, focus, but don't overthink the game. You'll perform better, subconsciously, unconsciously than, blatantly thinking about what you need to do for your next step. I hope that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, man. That's right where it comes into play, that focus is actually evil, because you're overthinking what you're trying to do. And all of those things, like overthinking your mechanics, for example, like you're talking about, might be great in terms of, giving your mechanics the best chance to be successful. But in the heat of the competition, nah, not so much. So, let's see who else is on here. Guys, if you have any comments, questions, let us know down below. We're going to get to comments that you guys leave. If you see in the description section where it says allow StreamYard to allow access to Facebook, that's just simply allowing you to share who you are. If you don't click that link, it'll just show you as a generic person. So that's all it says when StreamYard says allow Facebook access. But other than that, man, focus. I mean, there's extensive research done. There's a book, Focus. It's literally just called Focus by Daniel Goleman, which is a great book for those of you readers out there. And I mean, there's a number of other books. Let's see what we got. It's a long process to think about it. Yeah, it's always a long process to think about it. It's a long process to think about it. It's always a long process, no matter what you're doing in a competition. But as far as giving yourself the best chance to succeed, how do you refocus? So how do you refocus as an athlete? Say you enter the game and the competition is going really smoothly, things are going really well, and you make an error or you have a strikeout or you have obviously the goal to bounce back is to refocus quickly, right? What do you think are some strategies for players to refocus quickly that may have had focus, lost it, and then they're trying to get it back quickly?
That's a great question. But going back to that comment, I think progress is takes a long time or whatever. I think maybe what they're trying to get at is when you're overthinking what you need to do, like step by step in the future, it's a long process, right? But when you're just focused on the here and now, then that's all you have to do. And then your brain doesn't have to process, that long extended phase. All you're doing is focused on the here and now. I think that's what that comment was referring to, something like that. But to refocusing is huge in every sport, but especially baseball, since the amount of times you fail is greater than the number of times that you succeed as a hitter, especially.
Of course.
So to be able to refocus, is one of the most important skills to any athlete, especially a baseball player. And I think the biggest thing, when something happens that doesn't go your way, is you need to reset. And you can reset by, stepping off the mound, stepping out of the box, or just sitting in the dugout by yourself, or in between pitches, you're going to reset and you're just going to flush everything that happened that you want to forget. Take a breath and then focus on your next step. Focus on the next pitch. It's always next pitch. If you can just remember that mantra, as a baseball player, you're going to be golden. Next pitch is huge. And someone was telling me something had like a tool that they use to like flush what they were thinking about. They would, especially when they were in the field, they would crouch down like they're in the ready position and just like flush the toilet, So it's like an image, that you see the image that gets in your brain, and then you're flushing it. Okay, you're getting rid of whatever you need to forget about, that error or that strikeout, and you're just focusing, taking that breath and focus on the next pitch.
No, that's a cool example, man. And I think every athlete needs to work on and figure out what their thing is. It doesn't necessarily have to be flushing the toilet, but I think that's good to even just make you smile, man. Maybe you had a shitty at or something.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's going to be different for everyone. We talked about treeing it, where you're taking all your worries and your trouble and everything that happened that was unfavorable to you. You're taking it from you and putting it, on a tree or like in an open field, throwing it to the sky, whatever. You're getting rid of that stress. You're getting rid of negative energy. And then you're allowing yourself to come back to the present, take a breath, and focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, for sure. I
don't know. We keep reiterating the same thing, but that's literally, it's just consistency and staying in that moment and getting rid of all distractions from the past and then all worries of the future.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing about repeating something over and over again, right? We're saying it in different ways. So, one way we might say it might not make sense for an athlete or a parent or a coach, right? But we keep saying it in different ways, and all of a sudden it clicks, right? Because it's not something people have never heard of before, right?
Right.
And actually, I want to touch on something really quick. So there's There's a simple way to visualize your focus in a game. It's a simple little exercise that athletes can do.
Dude, that's so weird. I was just thinking about, we need to talk about visualization before this show is over. That's wild.
We can definitely talk about visualization, but this is a physical way to see. Athletes are so visual. Literally just take a piece of paper and draw a circle on it, right? And in the center of it, I'll actually do it right now.
I'll say, tell the audience to do it right now.
If you guys are on, if you guys are watching this,
you got the time.
The circle of focus, right? So here's your performance in the game. And I know it's a pen and it might be a little tough to see, right? So next pitch. So obviously this is a pie, this is a pizza, right? Next pitch, and it might be backwards on the screen. So you have next pitch. And then all of a sudden you were thinking about last at bat. So this is my focus. So the whole circle is your focus for the entire game. This is a simple exercise because it's writing crystallizes the thinking. So I think this is an exercise that you should probably implement or at least test as early as 10, 11, 12 years old. Simple as that. Because it only takes a couple of minutes. The circle is your focus. Next pitch, right? That's what we want to be focusing on. And then all of a sudden, part of the game, you were thinking about your last at bat. And then part of the game, you were thinking about next game. And then part of the game, you were thinking about your stats. So all of a sudden, your focus is all of a sudden in 4 quadrants, right? And the one thing that you wanted to focus on is only 25% of the pie. And then you can just, make this thing go on and on and on. And you're going to write down all of the different things that you focused on. So then you can visually see, and you've written it down as an athlete. So again, writing crystallizes the thinking. You've written it down and you see, oh man, during that game, if you list all the different things that you focused on, then you can see how distracted you become during the game. Because psychologically, we have the tendency to only focus on what happened most recently, right? Recency bias. So the athlete might only remember his last at bat or his last inning in the field or his last couple of innings. He might forget what he was focusing on in the first couple of innings. So writing this down after the game is over, some self-reflection, all of a sudden breaks it down so you can actually see the different components that you focused on during the game. And if you say, okay, wow, I wanted to focus on one thing during the game, but I actually focused on 8 different things. You can see how that would take away from your performance. And one last thing is A-Rod. I think it was A-Rod, right? A-Rod's obviously multiple, you can, say what you want about steroids and his personality and all that good stuff, right? One season, his MVP season, before going into the season, he said his main goal for this season was to play exactly like you were saying. His main goal for the season was to learn how to play one pitch at a time. I mean, isn't that like mind-blowing? It sounds so simple, but it's so simple, but it takes practice, it takes work, it takes implementation to put all those things into place, man.
Yeah, it might sound simple, but that is so damn hard to do. And I'm telling you, as a baseball player and as a coach, to take it pitch by pitch is one of the most challenging things that a baseball player can do, but it's also going to be one of the most rewarding. And you can do the same thing, same exercise with the pie chart in your everyday life. Like, as an athlete in the off season, where was my focus, while I was in the weight room, or where was my focus when I was supposed to be doing my visualization or when I was, going for a walk or whatever. So you can do that same exercise. I love that. It's great for a visual learner to see, this is where all my attention was directed when it should have just been directed in this one place. And like we continue to say, it's one of the toughest things that you can possibly do. And I try to liken it to like distracted driving. I did a video about this, but we call it distracted living. So when you're on the phone while you're driving, your full focus isn't on the road, and it's also not on the conversation that you're having. And I was going to try to shoot a video while I was driving, but I thought that would be dangerous. but because I wanted people to remember the video, but I didn't want them to remember it by me crashing.
Yeah.
So I pulled over and I did the video, but yeah, you can't even give the person that you're having a conversation with your full attention if you're talking while you're driving, because you're so focused on the road, and that says something big for relationships. A lot of relationships fail and are struggling because there's a million different things that we can focus on. But when you're having a conversation with someone, your main focus should just be right there. Look them in their eye, be attentive to what they're saying. Don't just, listen to respond, listen to actually understand and try to just empathize with the person. And you don't always need to have a response. It could just be nod your head and say, yeah, I understand what you're saying. And that goes for coaching as well. I think as coaches, we like to always try to have a response for athletes, but sometimes they just need, you to put your arm around them, or, give them a high five and say, it's going to be okay, dude. And, you're trying your best, and that's all that matters to me.
Yeah. There's a thing called decision fatigue. They say that the average American makes about 35,000 decisions a day, which is, everything, everything from what I'm about to say next to what I'm going to write to, what I'm going to eat for breakfast. And it's just increasing every single day. And they say, actually, we're reaching a point of decision fatigue where we have so many different stimuluses going on. We're constantly deciding what to focus on. And that's actually part of the inspiration as to why the title says why focus is actually evil. We have so many different things that we can focus on. That's exactly what this thing is, right?
Right. So I think our first goal as athletes would be to decide what we need to focus on in every situation, throughout your day. What should my focus be here? Once you establish the focus, then you can work to remain present, and then you can put in the work to actually, be there and try to be completely focused on that one task. But first, you have to figure out what you want to think about, because if you don't give your brain a direction, or a task, then it's going to go off and think about a million different things. Our brains want, positive direction. So, keep my focus in the weight room, focus on this rep, or, you're reading a book, focus on this paragraph, focus on this page. And I think that's you to decide what you need to focus on and then actually try to do it, because after you decide what you want, that's the challenging part then, is to remain there and be present with it.
No, I agree, man, 100%. So we got a couple other comments, Cody, on here. Great advice. Thank you guys for commenting below. So every Tuesday, 12:34 Eastern Standard Time, EST, 1, 2, 3, 4. Billy, I'll let you close it out with some closing thoughts.
Well, I wanted to bring up visualization a little bit. So
yeah,
as an athlete, especially during competition in baseball, there's so much opportunity to get visualization in. So if you look at the on deck circle, you look at the pro guys, they're standing there, they're in their stance, their eyes are closed. They're actually seeing themselves come through, make solid contact with the ball, with the mechanics that they want, the finish they want. They're seeing themselves around the bases, touch home, after seeing that ball go over the fence. So visualization can be a very important tool, not only during the game, but outside of the performance realm. You can visualize, how you want to live your day, how you want to look, how you want your relationships to go, how you want to sound. You can visualize all these things in your head, and then your brain is going to listen to them. Once your brain gets like practice of you visualizing how you want to be, then you're more likely to be able to accomplish that in real time.
Yeah, I think we should do a whole video on that.
Probably, yeah, that'd be good.
That's such a dense topic, man. It's such a valuable thing too.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's do that for sure. And other than that, I just want to say, Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for having me, Sam. We love all you guys, and I appreciate everyone's support.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday, 12:34 Eastern Standard Time.
Merry Christmas, big dog.
You too, man. See ya.